Hey everybody, this is JoshSDH, and we are back in Towns Alpha, and I'm continuing right where I left off in the last episode, and that's, continuing to build up the town, start getting some more areas for my settlers to live, and trying to survive. So right now, what I'm doing is you'll see it speeds up here, so they start mining even quicker than normal, but I'm mining out some of the rooms. I'm making some personal spaces for them, so that way they can all have their own little place to bunk down at night and feel a little safer and all that jazz. Everyone needs their own space, and so I'm having them dig out a space underground. And I'm doing that underground because I'm not entirely sure, but since everything else seems to have a benefit if you're surrounded by walls, I'm hoping that being underground counts as walls instead of having to build a bunch of them. And so I'm just digging out the walls that I want. And so I'm making these personal rooms. Right now you can see I have 6 there. And I'm going to throw down a few more off to the sides. And so I think that's going to give me a total of 12 rooms just ready to go and rock and roll with people. And right now, I have 7 civilians. So I'm hoping that those extra spaces will promote some others or advertise to some others, hey, we have room for you in our town. Come join us. And so we're getting the personal spaces down. You see I'm putting those zones down right there. Bam, 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 bam. And 2 more. Bam, bam. Good. And then I throw up a zone for stockpiling because I'm too lazy to get all the mud. But while I'm doing that, something happened. And I looked up at the top of the screen there and I realized, some of my people were being attacked by froggies. So I went to find them. And I couldn't find them. And I'm looking around, I'm cycling through them, and I missed it over there. And yeah, there's a froggy up there, and some of my people are apparently hanging out with them. Not entirely sure why or what they were going for. I must have had a stockpile set up or something set up for bones or something, but then I lost one. And eventually I think I lose a second one, all to these froggies. And so that was a real bummer. So I'm down to my 5 civilians now, and so I have to be real careful because, I'm down 2 of them. I think at this point I'm still down 1, but trust me, I'm going to lose 1 more. So yeah, if you couldn't tell, I'm actually narrating after the fact this time, again, so I can kind of speed up on some of the commentating and some of the gameplay you don't necessarily need or might not want to watch all of. So this way it gives me an opportunity to kind of speed up in that for you all. So yeah, so I'm down here, I'm building my stuff, and I'm getting that stockpile of mud, and then eventually I just start deleting all the mud and just getting it out of the way. And I don't need it. I don't want it. I still don't really know of use for it. So if you do, please let me know in the comments. It'd be good to know what mud is actually used for, because I'm not entirely sure, and I haven't found a good reason to keep it around yet. I'm sure there is one. I just don't know what it is. Maybe some sort of gardening or something going on in maybe a different biome. I wish you could use it to refill holes or to refill areas you till. I till some places a mistake when I'm not paying attention, or I change my mind, and it just, I don't like the look. And so I would like to be able just to fill that tilling up and just re-smooth the earth if possible. So what I'm doing, I have my habitat area, and it's looking good, and so I'm going to grab some things up top just to make sure my food supply is looking good, my wood supply is looking good, and I've noticed my wood's getting a little low, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to, chop down clear cut most of that forest. It's not the most environmental of games, I suppose, but you know what? We need those resources to survive. And I'm noticing down here that my kitchen still isn't complete, and it's probably because this wheat is in the way, as well as that bread just kind of getting in my way. And so trying to figure out what's going on, why they're not taking the wheat and the flour into there, and I think it's just because they get distracted with some other commands, some other higher priority stuff. So luckily one of them comes down here, and she's hungry, so she's going to eat the bread. And I was just getting ready to destroy that wheat, and someone took it out of the way. Oh, and then I did destroy that one. So I know if it's an awful thing to do in the game, let me know, and I'll try not to destroy wheat anymore. But yeah, so I put those walls up, so hopefully they'll be coming up soon as soon as my folks get done with all their chopping exercises. So food's a big concern. Again, I mentioned last episode that the food lock, which reading some different strategies online seems pretty easy to beat now. When I first started playing is very difficult, and you might get to day 4, 5, or 6, and then all of a sudden none of your people are moving around. It's because they're all hungry and you have no food anywhere. And it's interesting because I read a bunch of comments on different folks' YouTube videos as well as on the forums. Basically, the developers saying, that food lock is a feature. It's important. It's a part of the game. And I actually agree with them 100%. The whole point of this game is surviving, planning, strategizing, and keeping up on all the myriad things your citizens are doing. But there's some people in the comments saying it's not a feature, it's a bug, that instead of having people food lock, they should have food rot or something, so you just can't keep a giant stockpile. And the argument they were citing is there's these giant apple trees and pear trees within reach, and if you were starving, you would just reach up and grab the apple or the pear. I'm with a bunch of the other commentators. My thought really is, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to reach up and just grab the pear if you're starving, because if you're starving, you're starving. You have nothing else that you can do. You're stuck because of your hunger. You are so hungry you cannot move. That's kind of how the game's handling it. And as I said, I think that's very much the right idea. I think it's fun. It's a fun challenge, and you want to maintain the balance of expanding and expansion and construction with the basic needs of feeding your folks. And so I like the food lock. I think it's an important part of the game. I think if it were to be removed, it would really diminish some of the challenge, especially the early challenge. And I think in the end, you'd have players that aren't as good because of it. I think by having something like that, a mechanic like that in the game, it really forces people early on to start thinking about the strategy. And so it's something I wholeheartedly support. Now that said, what's going on here? Well, you see that piece of wood, a piece of bread got in the way, and so that wall is just chilling there. So eventually I'm like, I wonder if I just can tell them to build a wall, if they will go just grab the one that they've already built. And luckily they do, and bam. So now I have a nice enclosed, you see a little bug there, graphic bug, you see two little posts sticking out. That's a little strange, but whatever. Yeah, there they are. They're still there. So it's a little strange. I was trying to see if I can flash them back and forth and maybe toggle it out. It didn't work. So yeah, so this is what's going on. So basically now it's just supplies, gathering supplies, building some more farmland, and getting things ready for my folks to keep on living and moving down. So I think I'm looking down these rooms now, and I'm thinking, I should probably put some furniture in. But first, I have them come down and dig out a space for our hospital. Why a hospital? Why not? Really, I think it's just good to start building these different locations so I know where they're going to be. I am going to eventually build an armory and a weapons room, probably down in the basement down there. I don't know if the basement, is that the right name? I don't know. But I'm going to build that probably down there for them to craft all their weapons and their armor, and then store them down there as well. Eventually, I'll get them all outfitted, probably pretty soon, most likely in the next episode even. So if you haven't seen anyone working with the armor or getting them all equipped, you'll see that. And then I might go on a froggy hunt because I'm angry that they killed two of my people. So I think it's time to start plotting our revenge. So what I'm going to do now is fast forward it a little bit and jump back in about 2 seconds. And here we are down in the basement, and you see what I'm doing is getting some beds and putting some furniture in, getting ready for them to come down and live in, and hopefully entice some new folks to move in and be our residents here. And eventually I'm like, I don't like how the beds are uneven, so I decided to move them all up, and I've canceled those 2 orders over there. But you also see that there is a hospital now, or at least the zone for a hospital off to the side there. Eventually soon I will hopefully have something that will be a little more permanent in terms of furniture and medicine cabinets and all that jazz, and that'll probably happen once I figure out exactly what I need to do to use a hospital, since I've never actually used one yet. But let's go back up top here. And so you can see I started a wall off to the right there. The folks are busy using up some of the excess rock. I don't really think that wall's going to do much, but it's really to hopefully stop them from planning on going over to Froggy Land right now, which isn't going to be very effective unless I wall all the way up the hill, and that's just not going to happen. So it's more of a decorative wall next to my basement entrance to the underground. I'd also decided that, maybe it would be a good idea if my folks had another food supply, and we have, I think, enough infrastructure now to support it. We're going to start making some meat pies, and so I'm throwing down some area to be tilled, and you'll see here, there's where I make a little mistake. I go a little too far, and I can't till everything there, and you see that gap under the sand, and so I'm like, oh, maybe I should cancel it, and I just don't get there in time, and they till that one piece. So that'd be a great thing if I could use mud to untill it, or if you know of a way to untill it, please let me know. I've tried digging, and then there's no way to fill in the hole, so that's not very effective. And even worse, sometimes when you dig something you've tilled, it still thinks it's farmland, even though there's a hole there, and causes all sorts of weirdness. So, yeah, right now it's they're tilling, and I'm putting down some area so that way I can eventually put a pig farm, and we'll see what's going on right there. And so I get the pig farms ready. I'm going to plop them onto the hummus, and I'm going to, retill there to fix that little area there, and, just get everything perfect, because you kind of want the game to look like you want it to look, and you want things to be, kind of aesthetically pleasing to whatever it is that you may be going for when you're designing these towns. I think that's part of the fun of the game. You can see a person running across there working on my wall and getting that already as well. And I think it's moving well. So we'll drop some pig farms on the hummus. It's got the big red X until we get the wood and the pigs in there. And there's some pigs around, and I didn't really understand how it would work. I didn't know if they would go grab a pig and maybe, I don't know, just throw it in the fence. And I think that's actually exactly what they do. And so that's actually kind of cool. And then eventually those pig farms, they just keep, yep, there you go, drop a pig. Boonk. And eventually those pig farms produce pigs on their own, which is nice because I'm going to be making meat pies, which are a little more effective in terms of keeping my citizens full and happy and healthy and all of that. I'm actually noticing right now I have a lot of coal up there. Anyway, so we fast forwarded again, and now you can see the pig farms are up and running. They all have enough pigs to at least exist. And so now what will happen is over time, pigs will spawn in there or around there. And so there'll be plenty of pigs available for meat pie making. At least that's the idea. And so I go up, check my food, and I was like, oh, no, I need to just scan around, make sure that's going well. The wall's being built well. My stockpile's well. Down underground's looking good. And so, just checking in, make sure things are okay. I got enough wood. Making sure that my stockpile accepts wood. It's a little interesting that it's not being taken right now. So I'm looking around right now trying to figure out what are the other commands that people aren't following. And I'm not seeing what they are. And so I give up looking and decide, every room should have a cupboard. And so now I go and just get everything ready. And so I'm putting the cupboards down in the personal rooms. I'm not entirely sure what I need to put in a personal room to make it more enticing to immigrants. But hopefully I'll be able to figure that out as I play or explore the forums or any of that jazz. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like my town's in a good spot. I know I need some weapons and armor, and again, that'll be coming soon. So I'm going down now underground again to explore and see some more of what's below. And so I'm digging this little access tunnel, and looking around to see if anyone's coming down to dig for it. And I also am asking folks to continue cutting because I need enough wood to make a ladder. And here she comes. She's going to dig, and get that little tunnel ready. And again, it's just going to be a little outcropping. I have to be careful with the water. So apparently there's invisible water on level 3, and that's not cool. So, it makes actually a lot of sense. It's not necessarily invisible water. You have to imagine that as you're digging, you're also disturbing the floor above you. And so you can't necessarily see that there's a river above your head until you dig out the wall, and then the river just collapses on you and floods. So basically, I just need to keep an eye out to make sure as I'm digging this third level that I'm nowhere near where the river would be, because only the lake is showing up. And so you can see that river is off to the sides there. So as long as I dig up and upwards, I should be pretty safe from flooding or drowning. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just exploring. One thing that's nice to know is wherever your mouse is, if you use the mouse wheel to move up and down levels, it will be on that same square on the next level map. So that's very helpful. Like if you find some underground iron and it's like near a dungeon wall and you want to dig your way down versus fighting through the dungeon, you can do things like that. And you're probably going, what dungeon, Josh? You haven't shown me one yet. Well, I'm going to. I'm turning all the wheat back on. I turned it off because folks were... I wanted different things to get done first. But now I'm, again, keeping an eye on food. But yeah. So, dungeon. I mentioned it. So I've dug down. There's my little access tunnel. And I'm going to dig just 1 or 2 squares. Actually, I should have only dug 1 square. It was kind of foolish to dig 2. And you'll see why in a second. So she's going to run over, and she comes on down, and she's dig. And you see there's a dungeon tile there, and she's basically going to open up the dungeon. Bam! So as soon as you open up the dungeon, you can see everything. And so she ran up, and that was good. And basically, I destroyed the ladder right away. Because, again, I don't know if things can come up the ladder, but I sure know my people are stupid enough to go down if I give them the wrong command. So they're not stupid. They're doing what the master and commander tells them. So you can see this dungeon, and it's huge, and there's lots of monsters and mobs, and so you got big spiders, little spiders, slimes, and as you kill these creatures, they have a chance to drop more building materials to make better armor and better weapons. So that's where some of the fun and fighting aspects come in. And what I'm really doing now is I'm looking at the size of the dungeon, but I'm still looking for iron, and I'm trying to see if I can kind of get a good idea of where some iron might be, and I'm not seeing any, so it's a bit of a bummer because I want to see it. And you can see, so when I popped up, I was off to the side of my second level here. And that's important to note because, again, the where your mouse is corresponds from each level up to up. So yeah, so that's episode 2 of Towns. I'm really enjoying this game. It's a lot of fun. So I think what's gonna happen next time is I'm gonna equip my folks. I'm gonna send them after the froggies, and then depending if I can ever find any iron, I might send them down into the dungeon. So thanks for watching, and as always, keep on digging. Bye.